Hi, everybody, and another live interview with my new friend. I watched him make cake yesterday. Ben-Isreal from Ben-Isreal Cakes out of New York City. And 2 days ago, I watched him in the Art of Catering Food making rose petals for a wedding cake. And it was mind-blowing. It was so cool. So tell everybody about your cakes. What do you do?
Where should I start? First of all, it's nice to be here at the Art of Food, Cater Sauce, and there's another name. Right?
The special event.
The special event.
Yeah.
With thousands of people who are interested in catering, in food, in pastry, in baking, and of course cooking. And there are a lot of activities. And I've been judging and lecturing and conducting talks and enjoying myself as well.
Right.
Because Austin is a great food town.
Yes, it is.
But what I do is, the whole thing started cooking and baking in my mother's kitchen. I was a very unrestful child. I always needed to do something. I was very ambitious. And I was fascinated by what was happening in my mother's kitchen.
Okay.
And for instance, she would whip egg whites to a meringue. And I was fascinated. So they let me whip by hand. We didn't have an electric mixer.
Okay.
And then she would do different things with the meringue. We would bake little kisses. Or it will be a base for a filling for a cake.
Right.
Or we would even do île flottante, which you poach the egg whites in boiling water and put it on top of a sauce. So I was fascinated by the chemistry and by the sweet taste.
Right.
And then when I grew up a little bit, I would save my babysitting money, go to the big city, Tel Aviv, which had a lot of European pastry shops. Just have a cup of coffee and a pastry like a donut or a Danish or a Hungarian cake filled with poppy seed. And I was just, to this day, fascinated with baking.
Okay, awesome.
But I didn't go to baking school. I went to art school. And I learned fine arts, sculpting and drawing and painting. And I thought that that's what would happen. And of course, I'm giving you the short version because who doesn't like to talk about themselves?
Right.
But what happened, a friend of mine from art school told me, and I was already an adult, that he started taking modern dance classes.
Modern dance classes?
Yes.
Okay.
And I said, okay, because I also learned how to do folk dance.
Okay.
And I would do hoppa, 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 the whole rhyme. So I went to one class, and of course I got hooked up. Just like I got hooked up to baking, dancing. So I spent 15 years as a dancer.
Wow.
Yes. And I did that. And towards the end of my career, because I was reaching the age of 40, and I couldn't dance anymore professionally. So I looked for a lot of different jobs. I was in France then, apprentice in a dance company. Then I moved to New York City.
Bless you.
And we're back. So what happened, I had many, many jobs because I really wanted to be in New York City.
Okay.
And one successful job was relying on my art career, working on display in showrooms.
Okay.
So one of them was for dolls and toys and
like the Macy's windows?
Yes, I've done those too.
Okay.
And there's a big building that is for the trade.
Okay.
And it's called the table.
It's okay. Keep going.
It's called the Tabletop Building.
Okay.
On Madison 26. And every floor has dozens of shows that sell china, glassware, and so forth.
Yep.
So I worked for a design company, and we would style the wares. And then since I would always be cake for lunch, the designer said, maybe you can make some display cakes to show the products, to show the china and the glassware. So I did that, and then he said, can you make few cakes to display in shop windows to offset the merchandise?
Okay.
And that store was on Fifth Avenue, and display, the name of the shop was Mickey Moto. It's a very well-known Japanese pearl store. So I did those fancy cakes to show off the pearls.
Okay.
But what happened, people started stopping by because they had this great little vitrine windows. And instead of asking about the pearls, they asked about the cakes. Who does the cakes? So I quickly made a business card,
Uh-huh.
and I was working for a 6th-floor walk-up studio in Greenwich Village in New York. I started making little cakes, and then the call that changed my life arrived one morning, and the lady said in a gorgeous voice, "Hello, Ron, this is Martha." And I thought somebody was pulling my leg. I thought it was a joke, but it was the real Martha Stewart.
Wow.
And she was starting a wedding magazine, and she invited me for breakfast, and she fed me scones that she baked herself, and we got along fabulously. And she started using me for the magazine and TV shows. And then when she heard about the way I work, she said, no. You need to find a commercial space.
Uh-huh.
You need to call this and this guy, tell them that I sent you for a commercial offer. Tell them. She was extremely helpful. And
Wow.
also she convinced me that it was time to officially become an American citizen.
Okay.
And I applied for citizenship, which I'm very proud of.
Yes.
And that has been many years ago, but I never looked back.
Nice.
So I got a career, I got supporters, I got an income, and I got to explore the art of making cakes.
That is amazing.
Now that is the fluff. The reality is I needed to study. So I put all my efforts to taking classes and courses.
Okay.
And because from the dance world, I'm used to being coached by other people live.
Right.
You don't learn to dance on a book, and you don't learn to dance from YouTube.
Right.
I sought mentorships.
Okay.
And I met the people who really taught me how to make cakes. One of them was a retired gym teacher that
Dancer,
opened a
gym
bakery.
teacher. Wow.
Yes. Another mentor of mine is the famous Rose Levy Birnbaum, who wrote the Cake Bible.
Okay.
And I would follow her for demonstrations and assist her, and just became good friends and continued learning. And I found my wedding cake mentor, Betty Van Nostrand, who just turned a young 95 years old.
Wow.
But we met over 20 years ago, and she taught me the real way. She passed it on to me.
Right.
So I learned very quickly that I needed a commercial space. And luckily, I also started teaching myself.
Okay.
And the students became my apprentices and then employees. And the business expanded.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing ever since.
So for 20 years, you've been doing this now?
It's actually coming on 25 years.
25
But
years.
who's counting?
Nobody's counting.
Flawless. Just
You
like the
look
buttercream.
fabulous. Well,
I use buttercream.
You use buttercream. You're in the bakery all the time. Why not, right?
And there's the steam from the oven, which
Right.
opens your pores.
Right, exactly.
But you talked about sustainability, right?
Right.
Which is one of your, I know I'm pronouncing it funny, sustainability.
You say it correctly.
Right.
Mhm.
So what I learned is that there are different parts in our bakery. One is the actual kneading the dough, mixing the cake batter and baking, which you do standing up.
Right.
So I found a company that creates those amazing padded, almost like carpets.
Right.
So you stand on something very cushiony.
Right.
You work
Oh
for
my
hours.
God. Yeah, exactly.
If somebody is shorter than the counter height,
Right.
we used to stand on buckets, believe it or not. But now we build those little ramps.
Okay.
So people who are less tall don't strain themselves.
Right.
So they stand on like a padded platform.
Okay.
Now,
I like how you say less tall. Not short, but less tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
You don't use descriptive word.
Right.
You use, for instance, when I work with a client to sell a cake, we don't say expensive.
Okay.
We say costly.
Okay.
I learned to do that from caterers. I learned it actually in Cater Source. There's different ways to describe it which are not insulting, because if you say this is expensive, somebody may take offense because they feel they may not be able to afford it. So I say less costly. Also, I don't use the word discount. We don't give discounts.
Okay.
But there are considerations.
I like that.
So if you're a serviceman,
Uh-huh.
if you're part of the police force or fire person,
Right.
then I would definitely give a consideration. I will not give a consideration, definitely not a discount for whoever claims to be a celebrity.
Okay.
because now everybody is a celebrity with social media.
Yes.
But anyway, we sit down to make those delicate sugar decorations.
Uh-huh.
And it's best to decorate a wedding cake when you're eye level.
Oh, okay.
So we actually commission tables that are lower so you can sit comfortably and work.
Wow.
So there are many ways to keep our health. Also, way before COVID, we realized when we color the sugar flowers, we use powdered pigments and they get all over the air.
Right.
So we invested in a filtering system
Okay.
that sucks the particles into it.
Right.
And also we wear very heavy duty masks, which are
really?
designed to work in a plant.
Okay.
So before COVID, just when we do the coloring,
Right.
we make sure that we don't breathe any of that.
Wow.
And that keeps the employees healthy.
Right.
And I can rely on them. And it's sustainable.
And I hope they appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, they do, and they stay with me for a long time.
Right. Okay. And you were talking yesterday and he was kneading the dough, and it was the sugar dough, and you were kneading it a lot, and then rolled it through what I'm going to call a pasta machine.
Correct.
Yep.
So one thing I learned early on is to use motorized. They can be hand cracked, but we like to use the motorized to roll the sugar dough very thin.
Right.
But those are limited in size and are very narrow. So in the kitchen, we use commercial rolling machines that are made by Somerset, an American company in Pennsylvania. And they're excellent. So they're as wide
as the screen.
They're very wide. We have different sizes.
Right.
So you no longer mix a cake by hand. You have commercial mixers.
Right.
And of course, we have those sheeters that help.
Right.
Whatever helps to produce healthier. There's so much handiwork, there's so much talent and discipline that are required.
Right.
So however we can help the artisans and the chef do the work, it's important.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the link to his website, his Instagram and everything so you can see his cakes. But young pastry chefs that are coming out of culinary school or not even going to culinary school, they spend time making all of these intricate pieces for the company and the clients, and then they grow up, quote unquote, and
exactly. So we started school. Unfortunately, the school that I was affiliated with many years, the French Culinary Institute in New York City, which later expanded into the International Culinary Center, permanently closed during COVID. So we have other schools, but I have not found a place. So we do our own classes at the bakery studio. Okay. Occasionally, when I have time between seasons.
Right.
But I highly recommend to everyone to take classes. You can go to your local baker and offer to be an apprentice.
Okay.
But it's very difficult to learn things online.
Okay.
And I think people like to show off things online, but you really need the hands-on.
Right.
But those students come to us for the internship as part of school graduation. They have to do the internship.
Gotcha.
And it's a paid internship which lasts 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And then they need the internship in order to graduate. Okay. And from the pool of interns, we traditionally hire our employees because we don't have a high turnover. Sometimes I would put somebody after 2 years.
Gotcha.
And bring them back.
Okay. Awesome.
And then just like Broadway, in Broadway you always have an understudy. And
right.
Oops, the star broke a leg.
Yep.
It happens to us too.
Okay.
Hopefully it's more for life occasions like getting married or having a baby or moving to another state.
Yep.
So we rise through the ranks.
All right. Now I have a question because you just said seasons. So talk about the seasons of cake. I mean, you're not making cakes. I'm assuming you're making cakes 12 months out of the year.
We work 12 months of the year and we rotate on vacations and holidays. Okay. But the truth is we have to produce during the winter for the busy spring season.
Okay.
And in the summer we work very much with the fall. So there are two major, at least in New York City, two major seasons. The spring, which starts March through I would say June. Okay. But then there's no stop for the summer season. So it's really one long season.
Gotcha.
And then September, October, November are huge as well. So the lowest times for us are around New Year's
Okay.
until late February, March.
Okay.
And there may be a little lull in August, but in the past few years, people find out that they actually like to get married in August. So we always have to work. And
Right.
the process of designing the cake may start a year or more in advance
Really?
because we have to meet the clients, book the
Right.
date, and start planning.
Wow.
So even though when people ask how long does it take to make a
I was
wedding
just
cake,
going to ask you that.
the shortest answer is 24 hours because we can only start the day before and we have 24 hours to complete the cake,
Okay.
refrigerate it, and we refrigerate the cakes overnight in a huge walk-in refrigerator. So we can deliver the cakes cold in a refrigerated vans. So the whole thing gets cold.
Okay.
We don't use fake parts. The whole cake is real.
The whole cake is edible too, right?
That's correct.
Oh my gosh. That's stunning.
However,
That's
the
not a cake.
planning,
Is that a cake?
no, that's
No.
a center.
Okay, just making sure.
That's to show the relationship. On
Okay.
our social media, many times I like to post the fresh flowers at the location and how they inspired
The wedding cake.
the wedding cake there.
All right, so there's that. So there's the wedding cake, and then there are the flowers that inspired it. That's awesome.
So all this relationship with the florist, with the dressmaker, you can scroll and find a cake, even this one that was inspired by fabric. So the previous slide,
Oops, the other way.
the other way. This was inspired by a tablecloth,
The table. All right.
the black and white.
Oh, okay. That was inspired by a tablecloth. And then that's where the cake came.
And you see the monogram, the J and the A. It was a birthday for twins. We look at the stationery, the invitations. And also architecture is very important.
Right.
So there's a lot of things to study before we actually produce the cake.
Okay, how do you make that cake not fall down? Because it's crooked. I mean, purposely, which is cool. But how do you make it not fall down? Is that your secret?
Not the secret. The concept is just like married life, where you have ups and downs. So the cake is tilting in different directions, but it has an inner structure, which is lightweight, made out of bamboo and wood products.
Okay.
So we don't use cardboard.
Okay.
And we don't use plastic. And the whole structure balances the cake, but then it can be undone in a few minutes.
Okay.
So I can show you, but we're not in our bakery.
No, yeah, I need to come to New York.
And we do have classes, and we teach our students how to structure cakes.
I'm coming to New Jersey in April. I need to come early.
You can visit, but it's unlikely that we have a class.
No, I just want to come visit. I don't need to take a class.
So call us.
I will.
The bakery covers a whole floor, 5,000 square feet, but we are on the top floor, the 13th floor of a commercial building.
Okay.
And we only allow people by appointment. Otherwise, we'll never be able to work.
Right.
So I divide the day to baking, decorating. I meet clients a lot myself, so they come by appointment. And of course, dignitaries like you.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you want? My show is all about safety, sustainability, and inclusion, but
so maybe you should talk about inclusion.
Yeah, how do you make any vegan cakes?
Oh, I was talking more about same-sex weddings.
That's okay. We can talk about that too.
Every inclusion is everyone that wants our services, regardless of ethnic background. Actually, I would encourage ethnic background. I'm fascinated. In New York City, we have huge communities of people from all over the world.
Right.
So it's so interesting to meet a Pakistani family, a Greek American, Italian, Armenian, Persian. And I already like them because I know when Persian clients come in, they would appreciate pistachio and rosewater.
Okay. I like that idea. Yeah.
You know, people who were born or come from the South, they like almond cakes.
They like what cakes?
Almond cakes.
Almond cakes. And peach. Okay.
So we like to include everybody regardless of where their cultural heritage is from. We don't discriminate based on, of course, income, but we do have minimums. And our cakes start at $1,000, $1,000.
Okay.
So it's not for everyone. and usually the budget was much higher, but that's
Right.
the beginning. And then, of course, over the years, the people who work for me, I learned that some individuals I need to address as them, as
Yes.
opposed to he and she.
Mhm.
And if we are informed about that, we all are very respectful.
Yes.
We do a lot of same-sex weddings, to women, to men, or to non-binary,
Okay.
which makes it confusing.
Right.
So in the wedding world and industry, traditionally, you would always use the bride's name first and then the groom's name.
Right.
But if you have the same sex, we use both names, both
Okay.
last names.
Okay.
So it would be like Julie Kent getting married to Harrison Woodlock.
Okay.
So the wedding contract would say Kent underscore and the date.
Okay.
But if it's same sex, we would write both the last names.
Okay. Gotcha.
Just little things to be considerate. Of course,
Right.
you make faux pas and you learn from it.
Right.
But when people ask me, what is a gay cake? I say, there's no gay cake.
It's a
It's just a
cake.
good cake.
Exactly.
There are no
It's a
rules.
happy cake.
But we really appreciate all cultures, and people who are interested in our product, it's available to them.
I love the fact that you talked about, like, if you're from the South, you want this, and if you're from the Persian Gulf area, you like. I love that because you're incorporating their culture into their cake, and I think that's such a valuable and important touch that can make a huge difference.
Correct. And it's fascinating for me.
Yeah.
But we don't assume they may
Right.
lack something else. Now you have another point of view of inclusion as well.
Right. What about allergens and
Right.
and dietary?
So
restrictions?
we are very, first of all, it's a legal issue
Right.
because we have to be very aware.
Mm-hmm.
And we ask all those questions in our intake form,
Okay.
allergies, special requirements. So I can already tell you that we are not set up to do vegan organic cake.
Okay.
I could, and I may do it for myself, but in a commercial setting, for instance, we don't use mostly fresh egg whites.
Right.
We use frozen pasteurized because the pasteurized
Okay.
product is much safer.
Okay.
And also it's convenient because you defrost a carton of egg whites and measure that by gram, as
Okay.
opposed to opening eggs and
Right.
cracking. The chance of contamination by using fresh eggs is much higher.
Wow. Okay. Good to know.
So, and of course, if you're fully vegan, you will not use white sugar because it's processed here with ash
Right.
to
Yep.
clean it. But we are very aware of kosher,
Mm-hmm.
halal, or non-dairy. So
Okay.
we can do a cake with non-dairy,
Okay.
and we can do gluten-free.
Okay.
We can do nut-free, but we are very particular to state that our facility processes those allergens.
Right. Yep. And that's
So if you had somebody, we do not use any pork products.
Okay.
I simply prefer not to,
right.
but we may use fish gelatin.
Okay.
So if somebody is allergic to that, then
Yeah.
not in the cake itself, but in a decoration, there will be some kind of fish gelatin.
Okay. Okay.
But a real vegan baker would use agar.
Right. Yeah.
But I would rather send somebody to a specialist
Right.
than try to take the risk.
That's great. No, I think that's a really good sustainability practice, to sustain your business, but also to help that other business grow at the same time and meet the needs, of
Food colors are a very big part of our decorations. So we make sure that they're certified by the FDA,
right.
but they're not organic.
Okay.
There are organic food colors, but they would fade really quickly.
Gotcha.
And to get those
Vibrant
colorful flowers, so we try not to use food color in the cake itself,
Okay.
only in the decorations.
Okay.
But I'm very transparent, and we do state everything in writing so people know.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. So what is one thing that you want people to know about what you do?
I think the work speaks for itself.
Okay.
So if you'd like to visit our website, I got it very early on, and it's weddingcakes.com.
Okay. I'm going to write it down so I can show it. Okay. Weddingcakes.com.
And all over social media, we use RBIZ RBI for my initials.
All right.
Ben-Isreal, RBI cakes.
Okay, and there's that. And then we're gonna do no, not that. I need to edit it. RBI cakes in social media, right?
Yes, and that's it.
Okay.
And we happy to answer the phone, but most people reach out to us by email,
Okay.
not text messages.
No text messages. Okay. And there's check out weddingcakes.com. Oh, well, that's a huge steal. That's a great website that you got.
Yes.
That's
And
fun.
you know what? Fans gave it to me
Really?
because I wanted my full name. Ron Ben-Isreal Cakes NYC, and said nobody knows, nobody can spell it. That's what you get. Weddingcakes.com.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Well, Ron, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm so excited to have met you.
It's been great being here.
Thank you very much. I'm very we're gonna be friends. I'm gonna see you in April.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Everybody, this is Ron Ben-Isreal. And again, show weddingcakes.com. Go check him out. And we are live at Cater Source. And I'll be back tomorrow live at 12 o'clock Eastern. Stay safe and eat well.
Listen to this one. She knows what she's talking about.
Thank you.